We're all characters in a story, whether that's ours or someone else's. But of all the stories that do exist, I've already found the character that I am. So allow me to tell you about the author that wrote me and the character he made. When I was younger, I used to read a lot of books. And I used to love storybooks because they'd help me escape my own world. They'd take me to new worlds of wonder and fantasy. Worlds where the problems that I had daily didn't exist. And I would explore many of the fiction genres I could. But the one that I liked the most was modern mythology. And I believe that the author who writes the best in this genre is Rick Riordan. I'm sure some of you know him from his book series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, or perhaps from the movies of the same name. Well, these stories go over the not-so-simple lives of teenagers, so it was no doubt that I would have enjoyed them and or related to some of the characters, such as Jason Grace, the proud, strong, and sometimes reckless son of Jupiter, a leader in his own right that had put his life on the line for his friends and for the girl he loves. So obviously I'm nothing like him. Then there's Percy Jackson, a true leader, son of Poseidon. Through trial and tribulation, Percy proved himself as a legend among demigod and god alike. He always inspired me, but he's also nothing like me, and I don't think I could ever be like him. There's also Annabeth Chase, the strong, athletic, and intelligent daughter of Athena. She would help and support her team and her friends and have some of the most important effects on those around her. What's common among all these characters is that they all inspire me to want to be better, but they're unlike me. So when I would read their stories, I'd always think that people like me will never have happy endings like people like them. It was until I read this piece of dialogue. I'm an overthinker. I think way too much about way too many things. So when I read this quote, it really made me feel something, because I also try not to think a lot. You see, my friends are the most important thing to me, but sometimes if I allow myself to think too much, I can question what I know, and that's a weakness for me, just like it is a weakness for Leo. But just like he says about weaknesses, the sad clown, a person whose job is to make the people around him laugh, but yet he fails to make himself smile. Leo works differently. He works like me. He tells jokes to numb his problems. Because hey, even if no one else around you laughs, at least you can make yourself laugh, right? Besides all the common characteristics that I have with this character, the one thing that made me relate to him on a much deeper level was a shared experience. You see, Riordan wanted to have his character stuck on an island. On this island, he was destined to meet a woman that he would fall in love with. So he did. But he couldn't stay. He had to go. His friends needed him. The only problem is, once he left the island, he could never come back, and thus he could never see her again. This caused a lot of pain, obviously. What if I told you something very similar happened to me? A long time ago when I was younger, I went on holiday for a week to an island. On that island, I met a girl. She was very pretty, and she was Italian, full package. And I'm not saying I fell in love with her or anything that intense, but I did really like her, and she really liked me too, believe it or not. The problem is I had to come home and leave the island, and I didn't have a phone at the time, so it's not like I could have gotten her number or anything. I knew that once I left, I'd probably never see her. And I thought by seeing Leo go through this journey, I can see how he gets over it and gets through it. But I was wrong. He didn't give up like I did. With his creative intelligence and his robotic dragon Festus, he found a way back to her, and they flew off into the sunset. It was beautiful, or at least it sounded beautiful when I read it. But you see, Rick Riordan writes his characters in both second and first person perspectives. I was able to see him through the eyes of others, and many have described him as a reliable friend. But that didn't affect me much. It was the chapters where I saw things from Leo's point of view, where I truly felt something for this character. And through dialogue and shared experiences, I was able to see myself in this character. It made me feel like if he can achieve his goals, maybe I can achieve mine too. And maybe it will be me going off into the sunset. But this time with a bike, not a dragon.